Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101.
Ahoy! Let's go! We're waking up Chicago. Turn up the radio. It's time to start the show. On Q101 with the morning crew. Ahoy! Let's go! Welcome to the morning show.
Hello, bozo.
Hey, let's go. It's Brian and Kenzie on Q101. Post night one of Q101's Twisted Christmas with Cage the Elephant, Franz Ferdinand, almost Monday, ended just a few hours ago at the Aragon. What an incredible night. That could have been all of Q101's Twisted Christmas, to be honest.
I know.
It was so epic for the opening night. And not that, opening nights haven't been epic in the past, but wow. There, I think, was 72,000 people in the Aragon last night, last count. I believe so.
Final head count. The numbers came in this morning. It's unbelievable.
They broke the laws of physics last night, and I have a feeling tomorrow night will be the same with the Pumpkins. Tonight, there are still a few tickets left. A great packed house, and just a couple tickets left if you want to sneak in. A last-minute decision going like, you know what? F it. I am going to go. That's the kind of attitude we're looking for today. So go to Q101.com. And get a ticket there. There's some deals going on right now. So Q101.com for All-American Rejects, the Maine, Andrew McMahon, and Dexter and the Moonrocks, who Tim from Plainfield agrees with me. Dexter and the Moonrocks, my favorite new band of 2024. And they're opening the show tonight right there at 7 o'clock when you get there. Doors are at 6 every night at 7 o'clock. So for all the people in Plainfield that are heading in to Twisted, make sure you get in early because there was a little bit of a traffic jam on Lawrence coming in. It gets a little trickier than you think, and just plan ahead and get there a little bit early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little backed up.
Little
Skinny
bit
road. Lots of people. That's how I felt in my car last night.
So coming out to Twisted tonight.
Brian and Kenzie.
On Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101. As we said, Billy Corgan coming up on the show at about 6:40. We'll be talking to him about Q101's Twisted Christmas. Sold out with the Pumpkins tomorrow night. But first, a fact that makes your brain go. And this is something that, whether you have kids or not, if you have kids, your kids are doing something that you would think is ridiculous. You might want to move them away from it, but let them do it because it is a sign of higher intelligence. Now, if you don't have kids, maybe this is something you did, and if someone ever calls you dumb as an adult, you can say, no, I did this as a kid, and I'm smart. Because science shows
Is it suck on batteries? Because I used to suck on batteries.
Suck on, you know what? We don't need to continue. It's sucking on batteries. That's what it is.
Now I feel better.
Kenzie, go home. You're done.
Yeah.
You're good.
I'll see you later. See you twisted.
It could be sucking on batteries, but we'll have that for you in 5 minutes. The answer to that. Case, what do you think it is?
Can you ask the question one more time? I want to make sure I understand.
So if kids are obsessed with this when they're young, it means they're going to have higher intelligence as an adult. So whether you have kids now, you look at your kid, or if you did this as a kid.
And I love sucking on batteries. And, everyone tried to discourage me, but I would love to find out it makes me a genius.
Right.
Obviously.
You can shove it back in everybody's face that made fun of you for sucking on batteries all these years.
Exactly.
So it's not that. What it is.
I'm saying it could be that. I'm just not letting you know right now.
But I'm telling Kenzie it's not that because what it is it's kids that are obsessed with climbing trees. Because I never climbed trees as a kid and I'm a moron. But all the kids that were always climbing trees, I feel like are doctors and lawyers and nurses and fighter pilots now.
I used to climb trees.
And look at you.
I know.
Did you ever drop a battery when you were rolling up the trees, climbing the tree? Because you were sucking on it?
I only sucked on batteries in the house. I'm not an animal.
Well, clearly.
Obviously.
We'll have the answer for you in 5 minutes.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
Time for a fact that makes your brain just go. And we'll talk to Billy Corgan here in just about 5 minutes about tomorrow's show with Q101's Twisted Christmas, sold out night 3 with the Pumpkins. And what a night that's going to be after last night's incredible start with Cage the Elephant and Franz Ferdinand. So, the fact, talking about children, if they are obsessed with this, if they're obsessed, it means they're going to be intelligent. Now, you may not have kids. Maybe you were obsessed with this, and you are way smarter than people give you credit for because you were obsessed with this as a child. Kenzie's hoping it's sucking on batteries.
Because they did that.
That's
It
what
would
she
make me
did.
feel better about the whole thing.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, Kenzie. It's not sucking on batteries.
Can I just get a win? Can I just get a win?
Well, to be fair, it's a big reach and sucking on batteries, being obsessed with
Why?
that, to think that that made you a genius IQ level.
Why?
And I'm not saying you're not genius IQ. I'm just saying the battery connection might have
Do you
been
know
a
how
little
hard
tough.
it was to get all the tape off the back of the remote that my parents put on there to try to stop it?
They-
I would say that's a pretty high IQ for a 4-year-old.
I've talked to your mom about this. Yeah.
I know.
Case thinks it's climbing trees because people that climb trees are, quote, to quote Case, doctors, lawyers, and fighter pilots today.
I just feel like there were kids that were always stuck at the top of trees. They loved doing it. I was never one of those kids, and I haven't gotten very far in life.
That's not right either. What it is, it shows a sign or a future of higher intelligence for children is if they are obsessed with dinosaurs.
Oh, love that.
So a report has found that children with an intense, obsessive interest in dinosaurs have a higher intelligence level. Now, if you know a little about obsessive and with prehistoric animals, then it shows you're an extremely smart child, as opposed to like a cow. If your kid's
Cows.
if your kid just does that all day long, I'm not saying he's going to be dumb. I'm just saying when you have an obsession with prehistoric animals, it shows some sort of higher intelligence.
That's my nephew. He'll like, you know what I'm saying? If you go to a museum with him, he's like, well, do you realize that that's a, like, we're not talking T-Rex. Like, he just goes off and it's like, whoa, you're 8. Okay.
I'm not trying to brag, but Harper is obsessed with dinosaurs. But she doesn't say those things. She just goes, rawr. Just rawr.
Or are you sure it's not lions?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. So I don't know. But I'm not saying you should force feed your baby dinosaurs in any way or shape or form.
Shove them down their throats.
But maybe go to the Field Museum and see Sue. Even O'Hare has this big dinosaur in there now in Terminal 3. I don't know where it came from, but it's a big dinosaur skeletal thing. Get them around dinosaurs. Now, if they don't react, bad sign.
Oh, man, I would not want to be that parent. That is
Start
a
from
tough
scratch.
life I had.
Start from scratch.
Leave your kid in that kind of post office box at the fire station.
Even if they're 7 or 8 years old, leave them there.
Just leave them there. Start over. It's all terrible.
Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101. Fresh back from Australia is Billy Corrigan joining the show. Welcome in, Billy. So good to hear from you. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning. Full disclosure, I have my kids with no help, so if you hear any screaming, it's me and my children.
I fully understand, Billy. I've never understood a sentence more in my life and
Right?
felt it in
It's
my
like-
bones.
It's like, I'm on a really important interview. Dad, he pulled my hair and, he stole my Harry Potter, And it's like, oh, my God, I can't.
Well, I got to say, I'm really happy you explained it to your kids. You're on a, quote, really important interview.
See, it wasn't just any interview. It was a really important interview.
I'm sure, snacks trump everything. I guarantee there will be a snack request mid-interview.
So food, you're using food to bribe your way forward. I get it.
Yes.
It'll lead to therapy later on in life, but right now you just got to deal with what you got to deal
Yeah,
with.
you got to throw out those snacks. You got to deal them out, baby.
Yeah. Billy, it's funny when we look back, of course, 2018 was the last time you played Q101's Twisted Christmas as the Pumpkins. And then, Case, the producer, did a little bit of research. The first show with the Smashing Pumpkins at the Aragon, and you correct us if we're wrong, was November 29th, 1991, opening for the Chili Peppers and Pearl Jam. Do you have any memories of that show?
Yeah, I remember thinking, oh, this is going to be so great. Chicago, big show, hometown, and no one cared.
Well, what do you mean by that? No one cared about you guys?
Well, there's, we all live in our fantasy mind of what it's like. It's the stuff of movies in your mind. Like, I'm going to be on stage and the crowd's going to be like this, and then you go on stage and no one cares. And when I say no one, it doesn't mean no one cares, but I mean it's not this thing in your mind. So I remember being very disappointed that we didn't play good enough and that the crowd didn't seem particularly interested in us.
That's a shame.
I'm sure, you know what, if I listen back to a tape or something, I'm sure it would be fine. But again, you build it up in your mind. That's one thing we've learned over the years is you can't overly build up a hometown show. I think your natural tendency is to think it's going to be the greatest show you ever played. Your parents are going to be there and all this stuff, and then you put so much pressure on the show, it ends up just not being a good show, which you're playing every night.
I hope you're more excited about Thursday, though.
Oh, no, we've had so many great shows. In fact, we did a Q101 show in 2000 in the era that the band was breaking up, and that was one of the best shows we've ever played in Chicago. So we have had some amazing shows at the Aragon. I love playing the Aragon. To me, it's one of my favorite venues in the world to play, and not just in Chicago.
Now, was that one of the best shows you ever did? Because you guys were like, I can't wait to not see you for a long time.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's so. We've had a lot of time to think back through the 90s. We were so young, and what we didn't really understand was not only the pressure of the times, which I think every band looks back and thinks, oh my God, why didn't I handle that better? But also what was really hard to understand at the time, which now is more clear, is the changes in the music business, particularly with what had happened with Napster coming in and the dissipation of the old record business model, put a lot of pressure on artists behind the scenes that I don't think anybody particularly realized. Now it's kind of pretty obvious what happened. The record business kind of blew itself up, and it's reconstituted around streaming, but there's still certainly a lot of issues, and you certainly hear it mostly from young independent artists because there's really almost no pathway for them to earn a living. So we were under a really particular pressure at that time that was really confusing because it was certainly way above our pay grade.
Without question. And we're glad, it's amazing to look at the journey of the Pumpkins and how the survival comes to my head as far as, all the projects you did and going, the Zwan era and then all this other things of your solo material and everything. And you come out still here in 2024, just ready to do a pure Smashing Pumpkin show for Q101's Twisted Christmas on Thursday that we're all stoked about. And, many, many, many bands, music industries just littered with ones that didn't make it or couldn't pull off all the stuff that your band went through.
Well, thank you. I mean, I don't know if that's a question, but I'll take the compliment.
It's not really a question, I guess. Yeah, I'm just in awe.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, it sounds a little bit overly simplistic, but for us, it was always about the music first. Everything else was always a bit of BS,
Yeah.
And I think our emphasis to always place music. I mean, we were made fun of, and you can go back and find the interviews. We were being made fun of in the 90s for being too into music. So let's just put it this way. I'm glad we were too into music because it's worked out in the long run. We love music so much and we love rock so much, and I think it showed in our, it didn't always show in our attitude, but it certainly showed in our effort.
Yeah.
Now, I want to say congratulations to you and wifey, Chloe, because she's pregnant right now.
Yes.
And
Baby number 3. Yeah.
I like how he said yes.
Yes.
Yep.
It's
No.
happening.
The reason I sound like that is I'm just in awe of my wife.
Aww, I love
She's just she's running multiple businesses and she's carrying a third child and she's the greatest mother in the world to our kids, who are really incorrigible, if anybody knows that word. No pun intended with the Corrigan in the middle of it. My son is currently looking at me with a sad face, giving me the thumbs down. I'm not even joking.
Oh
my
boy.
God.
You want to interview him?
He doesn't like the interview? Sure.
Okay, here. Hey, I'm doing an interview. Say hi.
Hello, bozo.
That's to you, Brian. Did you
I
hear
think
what he
that was
called
you,
you?
Brian. Sorry.
Now you know what Billy calls you when you're not there. Kids
Yeah, the
always
truth
kind of
came out.
Kids reveal their secrets, unfortunately.
So now we know what he said before this. He goes, I got to do an interview with some bozo.
He just looks at me and goes, who was that?
Oh, it was bozo, clearly.
Yeah, obviously.
Bozo, you want to talk to Bozo?
Well, Chloe, so last year I was pregnant at Twisted Christmas, and I thought I was going to induce labor. I'm wondering, does Chloe go to your shows / Thursday show while pregnant, or is she scared it's going to rock the baby out of her also?
No, she'll go to shows, but she's actually got to go to New York for a business trip. That's what's crazy. She's over 6 months in, and she's jumping on a plane because she's got business to do in New York with her father. They have this brand house called House of Gilles. In fact, Blue Ivy wore one of their dresses last night on a red carpet somewhere. Yeah.
For the Mufasa premiere, she was in the big gold dress, right?
Yeah, and also Nino Dobrev was wearing one of their dresses last night, and one of their dresses was just on the cover of People magazine. I mean, her father is a total stone cold genius. I mean, we're so blessed to have him in the family. He's just Gilles Mandel is his name. If anybody wants to look, the brand is House of Gilles.
Beautiful.
Gilles. And so that's Chloe's working on that business with her father. So between that and everything else we got going on, I'm just in awe of my wife. So yeah, when you talk about being pregnant, it's more me shaking my head like I don't know how she does it because it's such an intense process for any woman having a kid. And yeah, she's unbelievable. I mean, she runs our world for sure.
Well, without question.
Amazing.
You know, in the last couple of weeks, you've been on this radio station probably 100 times over the last 30 years or so, and an unbelievable piece of information came out on a podcast you were on, and that Bill Burr may actually be your half-brother.
Do you want me to retell the story, or?
Well, yeah, please. If you can, I guess if you can do a condensed version of it, sure.
Sure, I could give you the 30-second version. So about 10 years ago, my stepmother, who I grew up with, came to me and said, "Do you know who Bill Burr is?" Never heard of Bill Burr. Didn't know he was a famous comedian. For all I knew, he was the refrigerator guy working down the street. And she said, "I think he might be your half-brother." I looked up Bill Burr on the internet. Again, I have no idea who this is. I see his face, and the first thought I thought is, my goodness, he looks a lot like my father. And my father certainly had told me in the past that he had sired at least one other child named Bill that was the same age as me, and Bill Burr is a little younger than me. So all the facts fit of the story, but I don't believe Bill Burr is my half-brother, but it's one of those crazy things. And so somewhere out there is a half-brother named Bill, basically my same age, and I've never found them, and they've never found me. And apparently there's other children that I don't know about.
Have you ever talked to Bill Burr about it after that? Like that?
No,
interview
never
came
met
out?
Bill Burr. No, never met Bill Burr. In fact, people have said to me since, "Hey, you know, I know Bill. If you want to talk to him or reach out," and I said, "No, I don't want to bother him. I bother him enough with this story."
That's incredible. I just can't believe you held on to that for 10 years. As much as
Well, you know what happened, if you want the backstory, and I know, Brian, you want the backstory. The
Yeah,
backstory
bozo.
was I've been filming this podcast that is going to be coming out soon, and we actually film in one of Howie Mandel's buildings. And so when I went out of one building to go to this other building to be on Howie Mandel's podcast, Howie said something about, "Oh, here comes Bill Burr," and I thought, "Oh, this is getting too weird," you know, like, because there's memes.
Wow.
Before this, there were even memes comparing us physically. So I just thought, okay, this is getting to the point where, you know, I'm just going to say something because it makes me sort of weirdly uncomfortable that I'm being compared to somebody and I'm sitting on this story. So I'm just going to it's hard for me to not tell the truth, you know. So I just thought I'm just going to put this out there. I wasn't trying to get anything for it as much as I just got, I don't know. It was just weird, you know. You walk out of a building on a Tuesday and somebody's like, "Here comes Bill Burr," and I'm like, "Oh my God," you know. And I'm sure Bill Burr has heard it here and there too. And if anybody wants to do a little detective research, if you look up my father's picture, which there are pictures of my father on the internet, you'll see there's more of a resemblance between Bill Burr and my father.
Wow. Well, we're going to get you guys together in 2025 in the studio here. It's going to be pretty fun.
Well, good luck on that. I mean, like I said, like I told Howie Mandel, if I had Bill Burr's money, I'd be happy to be related to him.
Well, you got a sold-out show Thursday for Q101's Twisted Christmas. Hopefully you're paid dearly for that. We cannot wait for that show. And, Billy, thanks for taking the time. I know you just came back from Australia. You got a lot going on, so we appreciate you checking in, and we will see you Thursday night.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. Thanks again.
Thank
you.
you. Bye, kids. Bye. It's Bozo saying goodbye. So good to hear from Billy, as usual. Billy Corrigan from the Smashing Pumpkins, and a sold-out show tomorrow night at the Aragon for Q101 Twisted Christmas Night 3. Of course, like we said, we'll see you tonight for Night 2 with the All-American Rejects, The Maine, Andrew McMahon doing a special performance of all the music he's done, and Dexter and the Moon Rocks. Doors are at 6, show starts at 7, and there are some tickets available for tonight. Go to Q101.com and grab one. Last second, you can do it and join the party. Coming up here even sooner before tonight, 3 minutes away, we'll have Gil Curtis with your headlines of the day.
Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.